What's up, everybody? This is Shad with West Coast Styles. It is May 12th, 2021, and I have the pleasure of interviewing a friend of the site, a musician extraordinaire, Mr. Colin Wolfe. He spoke previously with us about his work with Dr. Dre, but now he's going to take some moments out of his time in the studio to talk with us about his band's sound. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us, Colin. We really appreciate it.
For sure, no doubt, no doubt.
So can you please discuss your band's sound, its origins, influence, and its purpose?
Well, the band's sound, it's a rock band in core, but I mean, we cover kind of like all genres and all influences from what we've grown up with and the different music styles we've grown up with. So like we might have some like 70s rock on there, some blues stuff on there, some like funk on there. So no one sound in particular, just sound. And that's why we have that name Sound. Because it just encompasses everything and everything we've grown up listening to and all the influences of all the great music that's come out in times that, you know, I've been around and listening to stuff from your late 60s to your 80s and 90s. But definitely like your 70s was definitely some great times in music and some great stuff in music for sure.
Can you break down the members of the band and the various instruments and roles they play?
Yep. I do bass and most of the production. My boy Curtis Bird plays the drums. Wyatt Kane, he's from up north, plays the guitar, lead guitar. Lexi Hammett, she plays acoustic guitar and lead vocalist as well. And Jason Hines plays rhythm guitar and does vocals as well. And everybody kind of does vocals also in the group.
That's cool. I'm personally a big fan of your music. I really like how you use it as a platform for social change and really use the voice and the power of music to affect people. During your song Dummy, there's a lyric that I really like. You say, systemic is the real pandemic. It's my favorite line in the song because it really addresses two pressing issues in modern society, and that's racism and the global COVID-19 pandemic. I really applaud you guys for using music as a way of speaking on stuff like that. But sadly, many of the problems in America today, there's a lot to discuss. Is there ever an issue about how a song should talk about something while focusing on that and yet not minimizing other struggles?
No, they all have grown and come out organically. Like, didn't decide to talk about it. That's just what came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, all of the songs that's just what came out. You know, I didn't sit down and was like, oh, we need to talk about this or talk about that. No, that's just how it happened.
And you've kind of been putting songs out in a bit of a consistent pattern, haven't you? Can you break that down a little bit?
We're just starting that, and I mean, we have damn near 40 songs at this point. So the ideal is to put out a song each month, and trying to have the song have something to do with that month that it comes out in. You know, trying to have it correlate with that month or whatever. But we have basically have enough songs to put out a song a month for the next 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that the route you think you'll take, or do you think you will at some point, kind of comb through the tracks and put together an album or an EP or something to that effect?
Yeah, we will do that eventually. Yeah, eventually we will put together an EP in our album. But right now we're just getting going. I mean, we just put out the third song. So just kind of see what sticks, you know, and what people are gravitating towards. I mean, not that they make the decision on, you know, what we put out or what we write, but we just have so many different things. It's just good to see people's reactions to the different stuff.
What's it like producing, like just comparing and contrasting, hip hop records versus rock records? I imagine there are quite a few similarities and differences.
I would say, yeah, bigger differences of, if anything. No, you're right. There are some similarities because you're just talking about things that relate to you and issues that relate to you. But I think sometimes hip hop can just be in one genre and just only captivate certain audiences and listeners. And rock is a I would say is a loose term because it's just music, but sometimes more people can gravitate or relate to a certain song that has melody and lyrics as opposed to rap lyrics.
I always thought it was kind of interesting. Even rappers will say they're gonna rock the mic, like
right.
So to me, rock is in a good way, a very vague and all-encompassing term.
For sure.
In a social media post to me, you said, "Let Me In" is basically about all the injustices that happened last year and have been happening. It's basically saying to God, if I have to die for this, then at least let me into heaven. That is a very, very profound thought. The idea that someone wouldn't get into heaven for standing up for equality is very troubling, yet also intriguing. How did that idea come about?
Social media and the news, them pumping out all that stuff. I mean, and just watching everything and seeing people's reactions and just not wanting to write the same song that everybody else did, which is I Can't Breathe. I want to have a different take on that same subject, the same subject matter. I didn't want to write the same song.
Yeah, in my interpretation, protesting is the exact thing that civil rights icon John Lewis meant when he said "good trouble." And I would say, according to the song, is there even a line between civil disobedience and legitimate criminal activity as revenge for miscarriages of justice or abuses of power? Because it's kind of like, because in that song, it's just like, if you're righteous and you're doing right, you should get into heaven anyway. But if you do walk that fine line, what's kind of your take on that? Protesting versus rioting, and just some of those lines that the media, the news, and social media has kind of blurred.
You're right. It is blurred. I mean, people should protest and should stand up for the rights. I mean, sometimes that's the only way you're going to be heard. Why people riot, I have no idea. I think people that riot are mostly opportunists and taking advantage of certain situations. But rioting standing up, protesting is healthy. You have to stand up for the rights. You have to fight for what you believe in. But if you look at some of the people that riot, I mean, you look at like look at the Watts riots, like they turn up their own neighborhoods. I was like, what good is that gonna do? I don't understand that part of it. I understand protesting, and you should protest. You should stand up for your rights.
Yeah, it was just certainly interesting to see, the juxtaposition of, I'm sorry, not the juxtaposition, but the contradiction of how even when you look at the insurrection at the Capitol in January versus without, the National Guard being called in and all the chaos that ensued there versus when other things were protested or demonstrated against, how, people really, jumped the gun, no pun intended. And I think, overstepped and, did more harm than good in some respects.
For sure. Most definitely. And why and how that happened, I mean, we'll never know the whole truth. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Somebody does, of course, but we'll never know.
Both of these the recent songs that I've heard, Dummy and Let Me In, are essentially about things that have passed in many respects. One, refers to former President Trump, and the other one is the social protests of summer 2020 in the aftermath of George Floyd. However, the political divide is still a prevalent thing. Just a year later, many more issues have come up and continue to kind of be unresolved. And not to minimize any of these crucial things in recent history, but today's world has a very current feel to it. Why use old issues as a springboard to keep the discussion going rather than new ones?
Well, I mean, the old ones are still valid. I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of our old issues are still there. They still haven't been addressed yet.
Mhm.
And I'm not even sure what new ones there are. I think the new ones are still old ones.
Mhm.
There's still a lot of things that haven't been addressed, and we're still dealing with. I mean, even today, I mean, you can go back for years and years and still see the same issues that we're still
Mhm.
having today.
Yeah, it's been very interesting and sad, but just kind of different generations, so to speak. It's just like in the instance of police misconduct, you had George Floyd in 2020, you had Trayvon Martin in
Yeah,
2012, you had Rodney King in 92.
exactly.
And I mean, as the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're still fighting the same fight.
Hmm. Do you think overall progress has been made?
That's a tough question. I mean, I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm not much. No, not really. Not much. Not much. I don't think so.
No, I would be in agreement. I will say I think there seems to be a little bit more awareness, and in that respect, I
Right.
think social media has been helpful. I mean, in many respects, it's a double-edged sword as well.
Right.
But
There's awareness. Right.
yeah,
There's awareness. There's that. Like now it's like, yeah. Now like, okay, we're not just talking whatever out of our ass. Like you can see actually what's going on. Yeah, there's awareness. Exactly.
hmm. So what are some of the songs? And if you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, that's okay. But what are some of? Do you have any upcoming songs, or like, do you know what songs you're going to put out in the coming months and what they pertain to?
Yeah, just various songs about just random things. Some about relationships. One song we were working on last night is just about thanking somebody. Like it could be your mom, your dad, your husband, your wife. Just about thanking them and appreciating them. I mean, it's a real thoughtful and heartful song. So we just about various things. Like, there's some songs like Dummy and Let Me In that talks about those kind of things, but there's other songs that just get a little personal and talks about other things as well.
Do you find those songs are easier to write for you or more difficult?
They just come. I mean, they just come and they just spill out. I'll wake up with something in my head. Like it'll be in my dreams sometimes. Um, they just come. I wouldn't say one is more difficult than the other, and not at all. They I'm just a vessel. They come from a higher being for sure.
One of the things you'd mentioned earlier is just kind of some of your 70s music influence, particularly to rock. One of the things that I like to do at West Coast Styles, just to kind of be that bridge between the new generation and the older artists and so forth, are to younger music fans. What are some 70s albums or influential rock albums from that era that you would recommend to say, hey, this is, if you like sound, go check out this band, or this is where we kind of got our vibe from?
I mean, I've literally listened to everything, but I would say Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Shuggy Otis, definitely Parliament Funkadelic, Sly Stone, Otis Redding, Little Walter. I mean, everybody from those eras. The whole Stax Records people that were on there. Muddy Waters, just everything. I mean, listen to as much Howlin' Wolf, listen to as much music as you can, and not, because some people just like listen to certain genres and that's just like their one thing, but like I listen to everything, country, rock, soul, classical, jazz, everything. Loretta Lynn, you know what I mean? Like literally will listen to everything and I love it all.
That's awesome. Do you find that certain genres of music, you're able to influence you more heavily in certain areas than others?
Like, not me personally, no, because I'll just put it all together. I'll take all the influences from all of that and make my own sound. That's, to me, that's what makes musicians, if your influences from everything you listen to.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on they recently announced the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees for the upcoming year. Any thoughts on that?
No, I'm not even sure who got in at this time.
A couple of the names, the Go-Go's got in, Jay-Z got in, Tina Turner got in, the Foo Fighters. So yeah, again,
and that, to me, all those people should have. They're fucking, they had great influences and impacts on the on our music, on our modern music for sure.
Let's see, I know we've just kind of talked about the basis and the kind of the outline of the release of the music. Obviously, with the pandemic still being in the way that it is, performance and touring is still kind of shaky. Is this something you hope to start performing live when you're able to?
For sure. We would love to get on the big tour, and that's definitely the goal, for sure. We'll do some local shows and do some streaming shows too, and we'll definitely let everybody know when we do some streaming shows for sure.
Oh yeah, please do. And
oh yeah.
As always, you've definitely, always got a platform here at West Coast Styles. I really appreciate you, keeping me in the loop about the project. And like I said, I'm a fan. And yeah, if there's anything else we can do, for you guys as you continue to release music and perform, please let us know.
For sure.
Is there anything else you want to add before? I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, just music is starting to come back out again, like you just said. Venues are starting to open up. I don't know if you saw the schedule for the Hollywood Bowl, but Kool and the Gang's going to be there this summer. A lot of different bands. So live music is starting to come back out. So, which is great for everybody, because music soothes the soul. So we definitely need live music for sure.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, sir. And yeah, let's definitely keep in touch, and we'll keep building and go from there. And best of luck and continued, health and so on and so forth as everything keeps rolling on.
For sure. Appreciate that, chat.
My pleasure, Colin. Thanks so much. You have a great evening.
You do.
All right. Peace.
All right.